What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another player rating show here on Back of the Net, and quite a positive feeling after last night. It's a weird one, really. Positive with the performance, positive result, really, in the grand scheme of things, but also a little bit frustrated because we done enough to win the game. But I think looking into it in general, Swansea are a team that are difficult to break down, don't concede many goals, and I think they'll win the majority of games at home this season. So, having said that, going there 0-0 draw, I probably would have been content with it before the game. I think it's a good point, and really pleasing performance from all the team and as a whole. Really, I thought we controlled the game from start to finish, and just left with that bit of we should have won that, and Swansea will be happier with the point, which says a lot, really. I think a massive compliment to us is the fact that Swansea seem to set up and be happy with a point at home. They're not going to do that many times this season. That's a massive compliment to how much of a threat we are to teams in this division, in my opinion. But on the whole, really good performance. I think it was one of our better performances of the season, actually, which is weird considering we didn't win the game. But we certainly won games playing a lot more below par than we did last night. I thought we were good from start to finish, and as I say, controlled the game. So a lot of positive signs. It's weird, isn't it, in this league? We're expecting or hoping to win every football match. So when you draw, you feel like can't be too positive. But we'll look back on it and think that was a really good point, in my opinion. Not many teams would go there, like I say, and get anything. So yeah, I think it was a good performance, good point, and more importantly, there was so many good signs out there. Another clean sheet. Just a shame we didn't quite create the openings and test the keeper enough. But yeah, having said that, I'm positive and happy with the display, and we'll get into the ratings. There's no guest for me this week. I thought, yes, you got more than enough with me, but now I think with the schedule and stuff like that, and there's not much time to, a small window of time to record, and I just thought I fancy doing one on my own this time, and giving ratings myself and giving my opinions. So I'm just going to get into it myself, really, and starting off in goal with Asmir, and just reliable, and he didn't have an awful lot to do, which is, it's always difficult for a goalkeeper, isn't it? Because you think, well, he'd done everything asked of him perfectly, so it should be a 10. But we know that keepers are always judged on how much they have to do as well, and he didn't have an awful lot to do. When called upon, as always, Asmir was comfortable, reliable, and done his job perfectly. So yeah, more than happy with Asmir. He'll be happy with the guys in front of him that made him have a not very busy evening, really. But as we've said on numerous occasions, he's just been like a new signing, and he absolutely superb. I mean, just due to the fact that he had nothing to do, we're going to give him a 7. But great performance from Asmir. Just as I say, not much to do, which is a good thing. We don't want Begovic to be getting man of the match every week, because that means he's probably being tested too much. So more than happy with that. And yeah, credit's got to go to that back three in front of him, and defending from the front, so the whole team. But I thought the back three was superb. Meps on that right side of the three, and I said before, I tweeted saying I just think this lad's criminally underrated. In the last player rating show with Charlie Starks, made a good point that I feel defenders are often, rightly plauditated when they make, last-ditch tackles, blocks, throw their body in the way of things. What Meps does is he reads the game so well, it doesn't get to that point where he has to make a last-ditch tackle or block. If you know what I mean, he reads it so well, he gets his body there first, he almost knows what's going to happen and drives the team on, pushes them up the pitch, in my opinion. He really gets the ball and he tries to go into midfield and get the team up. And I've been so happy with Meps this season. I think he's growing with every game, and yeah, I just think he's really does go under the radar a little bit. So yeah, just delighted with him, and I think he's a top player. Forget how young he is as well. So 8 out of 10 for Meps for me, which I think is fair. And obviously going into the centre of that three, and it's Mr. Reliable himself, and the skipper, the leader, Steve Cook, just immense, absolutely immense again. We probably didn't get into it enough in the last game, actually, because we were obviously the 4-0 win against Barnsley. We were so good going forward. We scored 4 goals. We're always going to talk about the offensive side a little bit more, but I forget, looking back at that game, how solid he was. He just stops everything. And I mean, is there a centre half in this league I'd swap him for? I don't think so. I think he's a monster. I think he's just brilliant to have at the back, absolute leader, like I say. And yeah, we just keep him fit, and we've got a hell of a centre half. And yeah, once again, clean sheet, never really troubled, done his job to perfection. So another 8 out of 10 for Cookie, probably bordering on a 9 to be fair. Superb. And that left centre back, Lloyd Kelly, and player that's obviously played in different roles this season, also gone into left back, which we'll get onto. He might have to do that on Saturday due to a suspension with Diego Rico, but that's his best position for me. In a free left centre back, because he's played as a left full back through his career really, and also moulded into that centre back. The left centre back's almost the best of both for him, and I just think it suits him to a T, and he looks so much more comfortable there. He gets forward when he needs to, and stays back when he has to as well. I think he's got a good football brain, and I really like Lloyd, and I still think there's more to come from him as well. I think we've got to remember he has had a few knocks along the way, bad injury last season as well. So Lloyd again, I thought was really good, and I think then back three you can't really when you compare, I think you just think they were just as a unit. Them three were brilliant, and every time we've played with a three, from a defensive point of view, I think we've always looked pretty hard to break down and pretty solid. And like I say, the game was played in front of them for the majority because we were in control. But when called upon, magnificent, the three of them. So another 8 in there for Lloyd Kelly, the third of the 3 centre halves. Going into the kind of wing backs now, obviously players that have played fullback a lot, but we're asked to do them wing back roles. And Smithy on the right, and I thought he was excellent against Barnsley. He probably would have liked to have done a bit more going forward in this game just because of how good he was against Barnsley. But I'll tell you what, he doesn't stop, does he, Smithy? I mean, I don't think he gets the credit sometimes. His work rate is brilliant. He's all engine, all game. Didn't really put a foot wrong. I thought he was really good. He probably would have liked to open things up a little bit more going forward, but I thought he was really good on the day again. And yeah, I think Smithy is quite consistent as well. I think what's been difficult for him is he obviously started the season on that left, coming to the right. He's played right full back, right wing back, left wing back, left back. So a few different roles for him, but I think he loves that right wing back role, and I think it suits him on that right hand side, and he can drive forward, and he's all bitey all game, and he's a little terrier, and I love Smithy, and as I say, probably doesn't get enough credit for me anyway. Been very consistent for a number of years now, and I'm gonna give him the same as the back three. I'm gonna give Smithy an 8 because he is still part of that defensive unit really, and I thought he was brilliant. Diego on the other side, who, like I mentioned when talking about Lloyd, he's going to miss the weekend, which is a real blow. Got his 5th yellow, and I think he's going to be gutted about that because we've got some fans back in on Saturday, and he seems like one of them players. Don't get me wrong, they're all going to be happy, but he seems like one of them players loves a good fist pump to the crowd. Do you know what I mean? And really, kind of takes to the fans, and they take to him. And I think he'll miss not being available for that game with the fans back, but it was always going to happen. He's been on 4 for a little while now in terms of yellow cards, so going to miss this one out. But I thought Diego was good. I don't think he was quite as good as Smithy on the right, but he put some decent deliveries in at times. I thought some nice little whippy crosses into the box that unfortunately no one got on the end of. But I thought he was good again. Didn't rifle a free kick into the top corner this time, which is a blow. But I thought in general Diego was pretty good. He's had a few off games, and he wasn't spectacular, but I thought he was decent. I thought he'd done his job well defensively. Probably could have done a little bit more going forward, but like I say, it only takes someone getting on the end of one of his crosses, and suddenly he's got an assist to his name, and we're probably giving him a higher rating. But I think a 7's probably fair for Diego. Not quite going to give the 8 for him on last night's performance. But going into that midfield, and Lewis kept his place in there, and I'm running out of words to say about this man. I just thought he was absolutely superb again. And as I mentioned about Steve Cook, too many cooks. What's the saying? I think it's an awful saying, because we got 2 cooks, and if we could have another one, we'd have another one, because both magnificent. And as I said about Steve, I wouldn't swap him for another centre half in the league. I definitely wouldn't swap Lewis for another central midfielder in this league, that's for sure. And just in that new role that JT deserves credit for, just sat a little bit deeper, kind of in that anchor role, and making things happen, and not just making things tick that you kind of asked that player to do. He also just turns and just drives, and he just beats a couple of men in like one movement. He's is so good. He's a Rolls Royce at times, and when he picks up that ball, I'm frothing. I am frothing because I'm thinking, here we go. What's he going to do now? He's so good to watch, and like I say, not a lot more to say on him. And he was probably unlucky not to get man of the match against Barnsley because me and Charlie felt that Sam Surridge deserved it, which I don't think anyone can argue with. But in this game, for me, he's man of the match. Lewis is my man of the match. I thought he was tremendous from start to finish, and what a player, and keeping him fit going forward. I just think we've got an unbelievable centre midfielder. He's so ridiculously good at this level, and now he is staying fit, touch wood, and playing regularly week in week out, new role, just getting better and better for me. So 9 out of 10 for Lewis, and I'm giving him the man of the match. Let me know if you agree with that. I think most people will. I think there's always cases for other players, but I think Lewis was just superb again, wasn't he? And deserves that one. There's a bit of a surprise, really, to see Phil Billing starting alongside him again. To be fair, he played very well against Barnsley. Billing obviously got a goal as well, and is obviously being rewarded for that performance. But with Jeff Lerma being back, almost thought it was a given that he'll come in. But Phil got his opportunity again, and I thought he took it. Probably thought he was even better. He just didn't get the goal this time, but I thought he was even better, actually. I thought it was one of his better performances in a Bournemouth shirt. And reiterate what we've always kind of said about Billing, the reason we get so frustrated as a fan base is because there's clearly quality there. It's just, is he given that application that we'd like to see? Probably not, but I thought he did last night. He come off for Jeff in the latter stages because he ran himself into the ground. I thought he was everywhere, especially in that opening period. I thought, God, who is this guy? He was everywhere and good on the ball as well. And I thought him and Lewis controlled it in there, really good in the middle of the park. So they complement each other really well. And it'll be interesting to see, actually. I'd probably expect Jeff to come in for the weekend, just because will Billing start 3 games in a row? I'm not sure. Hasn't played an awful lot of football. But if he starts, he starts. I'm definitely more confident going into it now, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I think a lot of people feel, is his head being turned? Does he really want to be here? But last couple of performances, he's grafting and he's putting in a good shift, and also shown good technical quality to go with that. So happy with Billing. I'm really pleased for him, and I hope he just kicks on from that and carries on to be a real valuable member of the squad this season and keeps on with these performances. So I'm going to give Billy an 8. Really happy with that, and good to see Billy coming into his own a little bit. Kind of, like I say, we changed system a little bit, so kind of going on to that. Well, right side of the kind of front three, I guess, David Brooks. And I think I saw this is Brooksy's 8th start in a row, which is amazing, really, in the sense that the injuries he's had and worried about his fitness. It's really good that he's obviously felt able, and JT's felt able to start him for 8 games. Listen, there's no question that he's one of the best players in this league. I think the expectations are so high with Brooksy that when he's not creating everything and just running a game, you think, has he had a bad game? I think we got to put into context. I think teams are doubling up. Teams are doubling up on Brooksy. What I will say is when we've seemed to think, has Brooksy done as much today? Smithy's had a better game, because I think Brooksy's actually given a lot for Smithy, and down that right hand side they've worked quite well. I thought Brooksy was okay for his high expectations. Probably below par, and I think Brooksy set that bar so high now that even he will look at himself and think, I could have done a bit more. He huffed and puffed, and he's always got quality, but I think when you're the team that are on top, the only team that look like winning the game, and you take him off, that says a lot. That you feel like he's not gonna do something. You feel like it's better taking him off. That seems a bit bizarre, but I agreed with the sub. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, difficult one. It'd be interesting to see again whether he'll start on the weekend. Like I say, 8 starts in a row. Obviously, it depends what system we go with. Surridge could come in. So we've got a few options there. But listen, Brooksy's a class act, and he is getting doubled up on a lot. Teams are looking at him as the main threat. Having said that, Brooksy set that bar high, like I say, and I think he, because of the performances and because of them high-level performances, we've got to judge him on that. It seems harsh, because I still thought Brooksy was good, but I'm going to give him a 6, because, to be honest with you, Brooksy has set that bar now, and I think he'd probably agree that he didn't affect the game as much as he'd have liked. Junior, kind of on that other side, come back into the game, was the only change. Come in for Sam Surridge. I think we can all agree we gave him man of the match in the last game. Really wanted to see Surridge start. So that was a bit of a surprise. Having said that, you've got to go into the game differently, from Barnsley to Swansea. You just have to, and I've backed JT's decisions and the way we've adapted in systems and things like that, and obviously that's how he felt we should go. And it's easy to say, isn't it, because we draw 0-0. Oh, if he had stuck with the same team, we would have scored. But we don't know that. We might have been a bit more open. We might have considered, I think on the whole, we were brilliant. And if the referee had done his job, then we probably would have won the game and Junior probably would have got the goal from the spot. So I think in general, Junior played quite well. Thought he'd done okay. As I say, similar to Brooksy, probably would have liked to have opened it up a little bit more from an offensive standpoint. But he worked hard and was always a threat. Had a good chance on the volley that I just thought was going to ripple the net. Just went wide. He was almost too square on. It was really, really unlucky. But Junior's a good player and we keep him fresh, and it'll be interesting again with him whether he'll start again at the weekend. Happy enough with Junior without being spectacular. I'm going to give Junior a 7. I think that's fair on last night's display. And up top, Dom led the line on his own. Like I say, he had a partner in Surridge, which he seemed to enjoy against Barnsley. But once again, I think on the whole, we've said this enough. Want to try and see him get back-to-back goals in games and things like that. But he's starting to add a few more to his tally, and I think he's going to score a lot from now to the end of the season. It's just how regular he can do that. But I think in terms of his performances and leading that line, whether it be on his own or with a partner, he's been pretty consistent for us, pretty good. He had one decent chance, which is very similar to his goal against Barnsley, that he just went for power and just went over the bar in the first half. I say just went over the bar. It was quite clearly over the bar, to be fair. But he done well, Dom. I think he struggled at times, probably, as I say, with Brooksy, really. He's raised that bar now and probably didn't get in the game enough, whether that was mainly due to not being given the service. But he huffed and puffed and caused the defence problems. And I still felt led the line pretty well without being outstanding, to be honest with you. But really happy with Dom's season so far on the whole, to be honest. And I'd be very surprised if he's left out. He'll start. It'll just be whether he has a partner or he's leading that line on his own, really. But happy with Dom. Like I say, didn't get the goal and wasn't to his best levels, but still pretty happy with his performance. So I'm going to give Dom a 7 out of 10. In terms of the subs, we'll get into it briefly because obviously they didn't really have a lot of time to impact the game. But Sam Surridge come on as expected. It was a difficult one, really. I think everyone was kind of calling for a sub to be made, but I was kind of sat there thinking, well, we're controlling this. What would you want to change, really? And then I felt maybe a little bit earlier, but I thought it was the right thing to do to get Sudge on. Come on for Brooksy, I believe, and just gave us an extra body up top, and it didn't really happen for him. He huffed and puffed. Like I say, there was probably harsh to give too many ratings on the subs because they just come on and done a job. So I think we'll just go over 6 for the subs. Surridge, and I won't even really get into Jeff Lerma. It was a similar thing. He come on at the end for Billing and done a job, made a good tackle actually, and tried to drive us on. But yeah, it was they were both quite late in the game. But in general, it was hard to change too much because, like I said, we're in control of that game. We just didn't quite test the keeper enough. But I think we've got to look at the fact that Swansea, I believe, have got the best defensive record in the division. They are a very hard team to break down. As I say, they're not going to give up many points at home this season, in my opinion. They're going to be in the mix for me, and I think it's pretty easy to say Swansea weren't very good, but let's give ourselves some credit. Maybe we made them not very good. We made them look average because they're a good side, Swansea, and they will be in that mix, I'm sure of it. So I think we deserve credit for that, controlling that game, and didn't quite test the keeper enough, definitely. But like I say, never really under any threat, and away from home at Swansea to control a game like that, I think's a really good sign going forward and kick us on to the next game. And in terms of the gaffer, JT, give him a rating, and a difficult one, isn't it, really, because I think we all wanted Surridge to start. For whatever reason, Jason looked at this game and felt just wanted to go with Dom on his own and with that system, and I can't disagree because we controlled the football match. And as I repeat, if the referee had done what he's paid to do, it was awful from the referee, I must say. So if he had done what he's paid to do, we get a penalty, probably score, and we win the game, and then everyone's going, he's a genius for changing the system and absolutely controlling Swansea from minute 1 to minute 90, and we won the game. because we didn't win the game and it was a 0-0, people will point to the fact that why did he drop Surridge? Would we have controlled the game as well? So we don't know. So it's easy. I think we've got to be careful a little bit. Obviously, the expectations are high because we're a top team in this league and we're going for a promotion and to win the league, if we're honest. But let's not get into I've seen a lot of people, and it seems to be getting into this thing of when we were grinding out wins or getting wins earlier in the season, it was we weren't very good, but the opposition were rubbish, so we won. And then when we don't win a game, it's we were rubbish, or the opposition were rubbish. And I just think, oh, come on, not every game is like that. Swansea have got the best defensive record in the league. They were at home. They're one of the teams that will be near the top. We went there, controlled the game, didn't quite get the goal, never looked like conceding. It's a good point. I don't think there's a team this season that wouldn't take a point at Swansea. So I think we've got to look at that. And like I say, I think again it was justified the way he changed the game and we controlled it. So be interested to see what his team selection will be on Saturday. Completely different game. Fans in, home to some fans in, at home to Huddersfield. Completely different game. So Surridge could come back in. Remains to be seen, but certainly will be a different game. And I think what I like about JT is he adapts to the game. He's not stubborn in the sense that just plays the same way. He looks at the opposition and plays that way. I think I mentioned against Barnsley. It's key to remember no one picked Sam Surridge in their lineup ahead of Barnsley. It was a bit of a surprise, and now everyone's calling for him to start this game. But that was only because JT put him in against Barnsley. What I will say is Barnsley have a very high line. JT looked at that and put two strikers up, and I think that was a touch of class really in that game. So, but yeah, more than happy with JT. Got a point because we didn't win the game. Just gonna give him an 8. But it was, like I say, a really good point, and really happy with the signs going forward, and just really excited for the weekend now. And like I say, it'll be interesting to see what he does with. We know Rico's going to be out due to that suspension. So, and with no Jack Stacey and Smithy coming into the left hand side potentially, we'll probably be forced into going to a back four anyway. But I think this is the type of game he may have looked at that anyway. At home to Huddersfield, I think it probably would have been a game he'd look at a 4. So probably not the worst game to be without Diego. Lloyd will do a job at left back, but I do think we miss that balance sometimes without Diego on the left hand side. But I'm more than happy if Lloyd goes there and does a job, and then it'll be who comes in for him. Will he bring Surridge in and just go with almost a 4-4-2? Will Jeff come back in for billing potentially? Will he keep Dom on his own, but potentially bring in like a Roro, or will Arnie be back? Weird one with Arnie. It seemed like a minor injury that's now been about 4 games now. We've not seen him in the squad. Having said that, whether it's minor or not, I believe it was a hamstring. So that's something you've always got to be careful with. So I'm sure they're just being a bit careful there. And at the moment we're performing quite well. So it's not like we always love Arnie, love to see Arnie, and it'd be great to see him back with the fans. But and he can provide that bit of magic. I think last night was one of them games where you kind of thought, bit of Arnie magic now, wouldn't go and miss with it. But we're performing well anyway, so I guess you miss him for the odd game. You don't want to bring him in and pull his hamstring. So they'll know what they're doing on that. In terms of Josh King, who knows? He's got a bad back now apparently. It's a difficult one, isn't it? He might have a bad back. Listen, he might have a bad back. He obviously had COVID. He might have had a really bad migraine. It doesn't look great though, does it? He always seems to be available for Norway. It's not the way I want to see him go out. Having said that, we don't know if it's Josh's side or it's JT. JT saying, I'm happy with what we're going with now. You clearly don't want to be here. I'm not putting you in the squad because I've got players that want to be here and are performing well. And as much as we know Josh's quality, would we really like to see him put on the bench for, say, a Sam Surridge and not giving Sam his opportunity? No, I wouldn't. If Josh doesn't want to be here and he wants to go, then let's try and cash in January or whatever. It's a shame, really. I thought he might knuckle down, but as I say, it might not be Josh's decision. It might be JT kind of being quite strong on it and saying, I'm not sure if you want to be here, and you're not signing a new contract or anything like that. So I'm going to go with what we've got. It almost feels like he left, to be honest, doesn't it? But yeah, it's difficult without knowing all the ins and outs of that. But I'm not expecting to see Josh in a Bournemouth shirt again, to be honest, which is a shame, but is what it is. But yeah, looking forward to Saturday, and if you're one of the lucky ones like me, you'll be there. I'm buzzing for it. It's not going to be quite the same. Let's put it right. It's a real shame that we can't have it back to normal and have everyone back in, and feel for the ones that that didn't get a ticket, and I'm sure I'll be in that boat for the Tuesday game against Wycombe, where I think they're trying to do it so, you know, fans that didn't get in for one, that went for the other as well, have got more chance, etc., to try and make it as fair as possible. Not easy, but obviously I think we'll be having more fans will be available for the Wycombe game, because this is that kind of tester where we've got just over 1,000 in. But really looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll do a few recordings. I'm sure the boss Sammy will call upon me for some media duty, so I'll do my best. But really looking forward to it. It's going to be surreal. It's going to be weird. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what it's all about. As I say, it's not going to be the same, but yeah, it's still exciting to get back in, you know, match day back into the stadium. So really looking forward to that. And if you're lucky enough to go, then enjoy. And I'll get your face masks at the ready and sing appropriately. As I don't know if I honestly don't really know what we're allowed and not allowed to do. Am I allowed to have a beer? I'd have to have a pie as well as a beer. I don't know. If so, I'm going to have to take a bit of cash because they ain't cheap there. I haven't a clue what's going to happen. We'll have a couple of beers, I'm sure, and try and enjoy that match day experience of just seeing the boys there. And I'm debating getting the old Columbia on, the old Columbia show, and I feel like there's a chance of Jeff spotting me in there. It's got to be done. But then I'm thinking, you know, bit of Christmas attire. Then I'm thinking, just get the colours on, Tom. Just get the colours on. So maybe a back of the net flag. I'll see about that. Oh no, why did I mention that? Sam's gonna. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But really looking forward to getting back in there, and we'll see what happens. And I'm sure I'll chuck a video over either Saturday night or Sunday at some point. But yeah, it's gonna be weird being back in there, but really excited for it now. Really excited for it. So hope you enjoyed. As always, do all the old thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. And there's a bell you can click as well or something. I don't know. Ask Sam. But yeah, appreciate all the love and support as always. We'll get a guest on again soon. Just fancy doing one on my own for a change. I hope that's all right. And look at that. I mean, that is make a comment on the Christmas jumper, Christmas waistcoat. I've got a tie with this as well, so that could come out at any point. Just trying to give myself enough options, really. But yeah, let us know what you think. Do you agree with Lewis Cook as man of the match? And what changes, if any, would you make for the Huddersfield game? And let me know if you're going. Let me know if you're going and what you think I should chuck on. Should I go Columbia and call out Jeff? What do you reckon? We'll see. But yeah, take care. Thanks again for watching. Up the cherries.